In e-discovery and primarily document review, success is driven both by your ability to quickly and efficiently determine key facts about your data, as well as being able to easily assess and monitor the status of your project. In these areas, dynamic visual graphing and representation tools provide tremendous insights, and today we'll look at how XERA's iVIEW maximizes the value of your data, enabling you to discover key facts about your data, as well as review coding and batch review activity to quickly measure project status, all designed to bring you a more efficient, quality-driven review. Now, as you can see here, we're inside of an XERA database, and my iVIEW bar is located right here across the very top of my screen. I'm going to simply choose one of the bar graph icons in place here, and you'll see some of the flexibility I had mentioned in the introduction. We have a couple of different reports we can generate up based off of data from our data set. One based off of our field and foldering information. This is the sort of thing to give you some better insight into what makes up your data set. Looking at your fielded information, all of the metadata, etc., balancing against each other, as well as items that may have been folded and already organized by your review team, as well as user metrics. First, we're going to take a look at the field folder report generator. And we can see we have a couple of different report types set in place here because I had chosen a vertical graph icon. These are my options for me. And I'm going to grab something very common. For example, I'm going to balance my record types against my custodians or my source field information and simply click Go. This renders up a visual representation of all the data we have sitting in place here. Record type counts across the bottom. We can see here are different graphs and the various custodians or sources in place. If there was a particular area that I wanted to zero in on, get a little bit of a closer look at, I can simply highlight and zoom inside. The real key with the iVIEW visual graphing presentation is the fact that these are also dynamic. As I hover over it, can give me record counts, etc. And if I choose any of these items that happen to catch my attention, you'll notice that these can be applied as filters across the top, essentially allowing me to filter across my data. I'm going to step in place, simply remove these for a second. And we can easily come back and reset our zoom at any point in time. As well, if I wish to alter or manipulate the presentation, maybe this wasn't the perfect graph for me, I want to hone in just a little bit differently. We can take a look at these horizontally as well as pie charts. We can set aside timeline graphs, etc. if we're going to be doing some sort of date level filtering, as well as taking a look at things, for example, as a percentage stacked graph. Again, just another way to come in and look at that data. In this case, my custodians across the bottom, and we can see a breakdown based off of percentage, the type of material that makes up that information. Now, in the event that we were to decide, instead of looking at the record data, trying to get a closer look at what's going on with the data set in my database, I wanted to step in from more of a project management role. I want to step in and take a closer look at some of my user metrics, truly understand what my users are doing in that data set and how their review is progressing. I'm going to choose my user metrics option in place here, and a couple of options. I can take a look at all documents that have been folded or coded, or in a more formalized review whereby we may have set this up as a batch-based review, whether or not we're doing analytical batches or simple standardized numerical batches, etc. I could run these reports off of either of these scenarios. Again, I have my various columns to set in place, various charts. In this case, I'm going to come in and take a look at what my users have been up to in the system. I can expand out my options in place here to filter on a specific date range. In this case, I'm going to roll this back to when I know my review had started. I can be very specific on particular coding objects that they've worked on. For example, show me all the documents that have been flagged as confidential or privileged, as well as individual users. At this stage, I'm just going to run a generalized report. Show me everything all my reviewers have been doing inside of the database. As we take a closer look, we can see the bulk of our review has been handled by a single reviewer. And again, these are dynamic. I can walk through, I can zero out and remove certain reviewers to take a closer look and see exactly who may or may not be pulling and reviewing their fair share of documents inside that data set. I can also easily rearrange this down to individualized reviewers as opposed to show me an overview of what my team has been doing. I can come in place here and render this up as, say, a very familiar pie chart where I want to take a close look at exactly what a particular reviewer, in this case, I'll grab this gentleman here, Mike, and let me see everything that Mike has been up to inside this data set. I can see an exact breakdown as to where he's fitting all of these documents and what he's seeing when he handles his review. Again, dynamic. I can redesign much of this pie chart, take a closer look at certain areas and see how this all breaks down, etc. Now, best of all, in the event that there are certain reports, certain data sets or characteristics that you want to keep tabs on an ongoing, continual basis, as opposed to running these directly out of the database, as I've done here, you can also save these as tiles on your dashboard. Works great for project managers or those that are overseeing certain aspects of the project, senior attorneys, etc. I can simply come in place here, save any of these tiles, name it whatever I'd like, and then they would exist right here on my main dashboard. You see I've got a couple of sample reports already set in place. We can expand these out. And again, these are dynamic. At any point in time, I could come in and refresh these to see literally up to the minute review characteristics or information coming back to me. Once again, dynamic in what it is I'd like to see and work with. As you can see, iView's visually rich data display drives your investigative review beyond facets and traditional keyword searches. Driven by our customized visualization engine, our unique graphing tools showcase your data and streamline your review workflow. Well now, that didn't take long. At iConnect, we continuously strive to enhance our products in ways to better serve our users' needs and workflows. A tremendously useful expansion in what can be done with dates in your iVIEW reports is one example. Earlier in this video, you noticed that I had the ability to narrow my reporting down to a specific date range. Well, now iVIEW offers dynamic date options for your metrics graphs. You can customize your metrics graphs to automatically update the graph with new information. Generate your iVIEW report weekly or monthly, choose to display data for the past 3 days, for example, and more. And we're going to see me do this live here. As I've opened up my iVIEW, selected my metrics reports, simply swipe on over. I'm going to take a look at the folders, the coding done by my users. And when I expand out my hide options area, we've now enhanced with dynamic dates in my focus on section. You'll notice here, for my current month, it starts automatically from my calendar month. So it knows, for example, right now that we are in May. So it's looking at May 1st to the end of the month. But I can easily expand this out to focus on today, my current week, to automatically know the week I'm in, my month, the last time somebody had been in, starting from, so a start from date, or a custom date range. All of these are available for me. But what's most important is these are in fact dynamic. So regardless of the option I choose, for example, the month, when I continuously run this report or have it pinned onto my dashboard, for example, it knows always focus on my current month. Or a project manager that wants daily reports, I simply create it once as my day. Every time I come in, it knows to focus on today, whatever day that may be. In this case here, I'm going to focus as well on a specific user to see exactly what Mike has been up to for the current month. And as that comes in, I can see exactly where he's coded his documents, where they've stacked. If I decide I want to see that in a slightly different display, in a standard bar chart, for example, much like we saw with our iVIEW report, I can generate it in that manner. And then, of course, pin that to my dashboard, save it as a tile, and these will be updated and kept track of dynamically. Dynamic date options for your metrics graphs, simply another one of the ways that XERA helps you stay ahead in your review. All from XERA, the platform that works the way you think.